Hello guys, welcome to another chit chat with me. In this video, we're gonna talk about a topic that I think is in our lives and does really affect all of us. It's about relationships and some kind of dating advices, what we should do and what we shouldn't do. And I just wanted to talk honestly about my own experiences, and maybe it's gonna help someone out there. As an sister, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I think these kind of videos are really interesting, and just like I wanted it to be real and not really about I'm gonna give you this advice and this advice, but just like about my own experiences, and maybe you can take some advices from it. But other than that, let's start this video without further ado. Coffee. So I've got my coffee here and my microphone. I'm gonna talk about my own experiences when it comes to dating and when it comes to just like meeting guys and just what they have told me that was not really true, and yeah, just some kind of experiences that I gained, and maybe it's gonna help someone out there. So we're gonna start with this guy that I was like dating, and I actually just met him through Instagram, and then we kind of texted, and then he was like he was really friendly, and also like I have like some kind of criterias in my mind that I want the guy to, you know, fulfill in case of going on a date with this guy. Like I just have some kind of criteria, and when they're just not like fulfilled, I don't really go on a first date with a guy, because I think even though it's like sounds like so strict, but I think it's important to just like have some kind of criterias. And I think it just helps you to just like kind of know what kind of guy you want to have on your side, and also it just kind of helps you both to not really waste your times. I think it's also important, because when you really go on a date without having any kind of opinion, any kind of criteria on your mind, you truly go on a date like a blind person. And I don't want to be rude or anything like that, but I think like it's just, you're kind of like, maybe that was not the right word to use, but you're kind of like go blinded on this date, and it's just, I think it's usually not gonna have like a good outcome, but you never know. So but other than that, it's just my personal thing that I have some kind of criteria. Like I want this guy to, for example, to go to the gym, because I myself go to the gym and I really love taking care of my body, and I don't want to have like a guy that doesn't really go to the gym and doesn't really care about his body or about his body shape, even though like every body shape is fine. But it's just like my personal preference. Like if I put into the work to do that, like I also want to have like a guy who kind of can like come with me and do it with me. It's just gonna be more fun, because like if I have a guy that doesn't care about what he's eating and what he's doing, and I am the person who wants to go to the gym and who wants to take care of what she's eating, then it's just not gonna like it's not gonna work out. It's not gonna make me happy, it's not gonna make him happy, it's just not gonna work out. Yeah, I have like, back then I was also like a little younger. It was like 3 years ago, I think, yeah, or 4 years ago. And he was like I had these criteria. Like I wanted him to play football, I wanted him to like live close to my house, so I could actually, you know, that it would make it so much more convenient to meet him. And I also wanted him to study something, because I was also like studying, and I was just like looking for a student, because I think it would just make our lives easier when we have like both the understanding of what is it like to study and be in university. So those were like kind of my criterias, and also like the criterias of like personality, but you don't really know the personality yet, so you can really have a lot of like, you know, personality criterias till you meet them. You can have them in your mind, but you cannot really expect them like on an objective way. So yeah. then I thought like this guy really fulfills all those criteria, and he's really nice. When we're texting, he's really nice. And I had like back then exams, and it was like kind of exam season, but his exam season finished earlier than mine. And he was like, you know what, we can just like wait till your exam. Like I asked him, I told him that I have exams and I want to focus on them first, and then we can meet up when I'm done with my exams. And he was like, yeah, that's true, that's just fine, that's completely fine. You should focus on your exams. Exams are just like so much more important, and you should really truly like do them first, and there's no rush, we can meet up later. And I was like, wow, he's really understanding. That makes sense, because he's also like a student. He has a like sense of what is it like to be a student and have exam seasons. And he's also like really kind, that he's really respectful, and he really cares. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And yeah, we then waited, and I had my exams. I had a few exams, and then in the middle of my exam season, he texted me, how are your exams going? And he like asked me, how am I doing? How am I feeling? And yeah, and I was like, wow, that's really thoughtful, and he's really nice, and he really cares. He's the one. He's literally the one. God. He fulfills all my criteria, and he seems to have a good character. And then I was really also like into football, and I still am. I love football. And I just saw like on Instagram, on his Instagram page, that he played football. He was in a team. And I was like, wow, he's also like really into football. He's playing football. He's even in a team. Like, that's just a 10 out of 10. I like it. I just love it. I started to just like kind of like imagine what it would feel like, and what it would, you know, be to just like go and watch him play football. It would be so nice. And yeah, that was my experience. And then my exams were done, and we went on our first date. I texted him and I said like, you know, my exams are done, how are you doing, and stuff like that. And he said, yeah, I'm fine now that your exams are done, we can go on a date if you want to. And I was like, yeah, of course, it would be nice. And then we went on this date. He had already planned everything. Like, we went to an hotel bar, and he paid for the drink, and it was really nice. He just like even helped me to sit on the chair, and it was like a really gentleman move, and I was like flattered. I was like, wow, he's a really good guy. And then I didn't really expect much going on this date, because I was not really looking for a relationship. I just wanted to date for fun, to just like, you know, gain some experience and stuff. So I was not looking for a lot, honestly, to be very honest. But then I went on his date, and it was really nice. He was really my type, and I was like, wow, he goes to the gym, he plays football, he's studying, he's ambitious, he has goals, and he's funny. He was really, really funny. Like, we laughed throughout the date, the whole date. It was so funny. We spent like 7 hours together until it got really dark, and I was really flattered. And he started to talk, and he said like, how tall are you? And I was like, I'm 187, 177 half. I'm still like 187. And he was like, oh, I'm 118, so that's perfect. The height really matches, and it's just perfect. He also like started to talk about his background, and I was like, oh my gosh, I kind of agree with everything that he's talking about. We kind of like connected through our background stories, and we were like, I was like that's just like, I don't know, fate. Like, he was so nice. He was like starting to talk about our next dates, and he was also like everything that I said, he wanted to just like kind of try to match us together, and to kind of like tell me that we really match and we should like be in a relationship. And yeah, that we were a good match. And I was like, yeah, maybe it's true. Maybe that's just like too personal, but I also told him that I don't want to move fast. I want to take it slow and get to know you. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. We can wait. There is no rush. We can literally wait, and we're gonna get closer whenever you want, whenever you feel right. And I was good. Like, that's just respectful. That's good. We came home. Like, he told me that we should meet up again soon, and that he was going on holiday. And I was like, okay, that's good. I'm gonna drink my coffee a little bit.
A few moments later.
It's so good. And yeah, I was like, okay, fine. And then the next day, I was like, maybe I should ask him, because he had like a match and he was playing football. And I thought like maybe I should like ask him how the match went. Maybe that would be nice to ask and to show him that I was interested. I was so naive. And then I asked him, and then he was like, yeah, it's so nice that you have asked. It's so nice that you have texted me. Yeah, it went well. And I don't know, he just wanted to like level up in his team, and I think he wanted to get into another team and level up his kind of football career. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's perfect. Then you have gotten what you wanted, and it's just so nice. It's so, like I said, congratulations, stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, but you didn't ask. I think we didn't text it for a bit, and I was like, maybe I'm gonna ask for the second time, for the second date. Maybe because he asked for the first one, maybe I should do it for the second one. And then I did. And then he said, on that day I'm busy, I'm doing like a match or something, but we'll definitely find another date. He texted that. Because I said like, he said like, on that day I'm busy, and I was like, okay, that's perfect. Then there's no problem. Then it's all good. Like, I was like, okay, it's done for me. Like, the chapter is closed. But then he texted me, no, we're gonna definitely find another date. And I was like, is he interested? Or is he playing? Is he a player? Why was he so interested in me? And then he's like acting so childish and stuff like that. And then he, I think, didn't text. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna let it be. And if he wants to ask me out, he's gonna do it. I'm not gonna do anything anymore. Like, I'm just too proud to do anything anymore. I'm not just gonna let it. I don't want to follow a guy that doesn't know what he wants. And then he kind of didn't text for a while, and after that, I think I made stories, like Instagram stories, and he started to just like kind of like my stories, like, you know, send me emojis, like heart emojis and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, like, why is he not texting? Why is he acting like that? And why is he not like just texting me to go out another date? I mean, it's just a date. We can go on a date and then be like, you know what? We don't really match. And that's fine. We can go our separate ways. And that's perfect. That's totally fine. But it's just in a respectful way. You don't really act that kind of interested, and then you kind of send all the time emojis and react to stories, but don't really communicate. I think communication, here is the key. Communication is really important. And you should just like communicate and say, guys, that's just a really, really like an advice or whatever you want to call it, but that's really important. It doesn't matter if you're a girl, it doesn't matter if you're a boy. If you're not interested, or if you're like a player, just tell this person, like communicate and say, you know what? I'm just like, we should go on a date, or we should just like text. I think for me it's clear, like I just want to do something else, but don't really, you don't really show like different signals. It's annoying. Yeah, you should really communicate your intentions. So that's the word. And then I was like, that's weird, that's awkward, but it's just kind of done for me. But then after I think a few months went by, and then I realized this guy had really, like, we followed each other on Instagram, but he really raised me as his follower, but he was still following me. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Why is he even doing that? Why is he following me and has gotten rid of me as a follower? Why is that happening? Like, that's just weird. If you don't want to, like, I didn't do anything. Like, if you don't want to be, like, in contact anymore, then you're gonna also, like, unfollow this person, right? Why is he still following me? And then I realized he had a girlfriend. I realized because I saw, like, I was fast and I saw, like, a picture of him. Wait a minute. I saw a picture of him with another girl, and then he raised me as his follower. I think my theory is that he didn't want me to see this girl with him, and he didn't want to kind of also, like, lose me, and that was the reason why he didn't unfollow me, but he raised me as his follower so that he could just, like, hide that he was in a relationship. I mean, do you have any other explanation for that? I don't think so. And then I was, like, so pissed off. I was like, that's so childish. I know you're young, but that's so childish. Like, that's just out of my mind. Like, I'm not gonna deal with that. And I just, like, erased him as my follower and got rid of him. And it was all good. But the point of the story is, what I took from this story and what changed in my life afterwards was, like, if a guy is just showing too much of interest on the first date, it's kind of a signal that something is wrong with this guy. Like, if a guy is talking about marriage, like, it's also, like, has happened to a lot of my friends. I'm not gonna just talk about my own experiences, but a lot of my friends have also had, like, similar experiences, because, like, the guy was always, like, so interested in the first date, and then they realized the guy was married, or the guy was, like, in a relationship with another girl, and he wanted just, like, one thing, but that was the reason why he was, like, showing so much of interest to get that one thing and, yeah, be done with you. But he didn't get that one thing, obviously, but in my case, but yeah, that was also, like, I think that was also, like, the reason why he didn't really wanted another date, because I was the one who told him that I want to take things slowly, and he was maybe, like, a little bit, like, scared, and it was like, okay, that's not gonna happen, so that's not gonna happen anytime soon, and I'm gonna let it be because it's just not worth my time or worth my, I don't know, it's not worth my time to pursue this girl. It's just not gonna happen. I think that's my theory. But what's my point is that when a guy is just, like, showing too much of interest, it's kind of awkward, and it's like a signal to just, like, think of it. That cannot be happening, you know? And a grown-up man, a grown-up boy, I'm not gonna call them boy because a grown-up man is different than a boy. A grown-up man who is mature and who knows what he wants is not gonna talk about marriage and kids with you on the first date. Maybe he's gonna happen and he's gonna open up about it on the second or on the third date, but he's not gonna tell you that you're the woman of his life, because he told me that you're the woman of his life and that you're the mother of his children and that he wants to marry you. Because come on, boy, come on, man, or come on, girl, you don't know that yet. You don't know it on the first date. You cannot tell someone that this person is the person of your life. Maybe you're gonna know it after 3 months, after 2 months of dating, but on the first date, that's just too much. If he's telling you like that, just, like, they're, like, empty promises. That's, yeah, what I wanted to say. And also, like, another thing that I wanted to say, please, if you don't really like someone, if you're, like, a player, please, if you want to be like, want just one night stand or one thing, or I don't know, a short relationship, whatever, please communicate that with this person on the first date. I'm not gonna be rude. On the first date, because it's important for this person to know what your intentions are, and then this person can decide based on that information, because I think it's just so rude, it's so disrespectful, and it's just so unfair to just show up interest and show you're really interested, you want that, and show other intentions than your real intention, because this person is gonna think about you in a different way, and it's just such a waste of time for this person. It's just so unfair. Please don't do that. It's really important. No matter your age, please try to communicate. Communication is always the key. Communication is so important. It doesn't matter what your intentions are, even if you want just a F+, or if you want just a short relationship, if you want one night stand, if you really tell this person on the first date, then you're not a really player. You're not a player. You're communicating about it. And if the other person is gonna have other hopes, hopes for a relationship, then this person is, then this person is doing something wrong to themselves. You know what I mean? Then this person is just having false hopes, and it just, it's their kind of, how do you call that? It's kind of on their shoulders and not on your shoulder. And you're not a bad person. You know what I mean? And yeah, that was just two kind of advices and two kind of things that I've learned because of this experience. And after that experience, I never really was too soon flattered by something that a guy did to me. I was always a little more careful, and I think it always helped me to just not waste my time or not have a heartbreak or not be disappointed in someone. It just really, really helped me. I also have another story, but I don't want to make this video too long. But it's about another guy that went on a date with another friend of mine, and he was she's a little older, and she was looking for a marriage and for a serious relationship. And she told him on the first date that she was looking for marriage, children, and she wanted to have stability and a family, and not really now, but in the long term, she was dating to marry, and she wanted that. And he also he's also older than Genty, and he also told her that he also have had his experiences, and he has his fun, and that now he's also looking for something serious. He's looking for family, he's looking for marriage, and he wants also stability. And she was perfect, you're my type. And he was you're my type, and then we can, our first date is going really good, and we kind of match, so we should see. But we know our intentions are marriage. If this relationship goes a long way, and if we get into a relationship, serious relationship, I want the end goal to be marriage. And he was yeah, that's also my end goal. And I'm gonna drink this. Yeah. And then they started dating, and everything went well. They, I think, went on holidays after a month, and then everything went well, and they became girlfriend and boyfriend, and they really started a serious relationship. And after I think a year, they even moved into a house together. And and then she was okay, I think now, after I think a year and a half, after 6 months of living together, and she was now is the time. I think I see myself marrying you. And I think that's direct, but that's okay. I think it's better if it's your intention to just talk about it rather than waiting for the guy to propose after, I don't know, 5 years, whatever. And it was like, she was like, I see myself having this end goal with you, and I see myself, marrying you. And he was like, you know what? All of my friends who have married, they have, after the marriage, they have started to really fight, and they have started to really have a bad relationship. The relationship got into a crisis, and they are kind of like separating, and I don't know, they're not really happy anymore. And I think marriage is a horrible thing. And I have to say, his friends were already married when they met each other. You know what I mean? Like a year and a half before. They were already married. Like, he already knew about those stories. And he told her that he wants marriage and stability in a family. And he said, like, I don't really... And he's not that young. I mean, he's not old, but he's already in his 30s and late 30s. When I'm talking about age, I don't really mean like you have to be married on a certain age. I'm not talking about that, and I just hate those kind of negativities that is going on social media. But when I'm talking about age, I'm like, he was like, it was not like he was like super young, that he was building something. He already had his career, he was stable on his own, and he had a lot of experience. I'm talking about that because of that. I'm talking about age. I'm not talking about age because, I mean, you have to be married by 35, you have to be married by 38. I'm not talking about that. I'm just like talking, he was stable already. See, he wasn't at like 18 or like 20 years old, that like someone who is like at that age, who is like starting to become an adult and is building his life. He already had everything, like, you know what I mean? So I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about, yeah, you should be married at some kind of, at that age. You know what I mean? Just a disclaimer to really say that out, because I hate that kind of conversation. But other than that, I wanted to say, like, he already knew what marriage can look like and what his friends went through, but he told her on the first few dates that he wanted marriage and stability. And she was like so shocked. She was like, oh my gosh, like I wasted a year and a half in a relationship which is end goal was not marriage and stability. And I told you that I want that, and I really was clear on my goals. And it was like, I know. I'm just not sure anymore. Like, I'm just like, no, I think marriage is just not something that is gonna make us happy. We're happy now in our relationship. I think the end goal shouldn't be marriage, and we're just matching. And I think I'm not gonna propose. I'm just not gonna propose. He got also like really angry and stuff like that, and not like in a physical way, but you know what I mean. He got really loud, like in an emotional way. He was like really offended. He was like, no, I don't want to do that, and I don't think that I'm done. I've been made for marriage, but I want kids. I do want kids, but without marriage. And she was like, no, I want a wedding, I want marriage, and I want kids after that. I don't want kids before marriage. And that's okay. If you want that, you can say that. But you have to be really clear, you know what I mean? I'm all about that. And yeah. And I was like, she was shocked, she cried, and she came to me, and she was really, really annoyed. And she didn't really end the relationship, because the relationship was a good one, but now she's not completely happy in that relationship, you know what I mean? And what I'm saying is, first of all, you have to be clear on your emotions. You cannot waste someone's time, waste someone's energy. You cannot really, be so selfish and just be so full of yourself to kind of like play with other people's lives and play with other people's emotions. And what I wanted to say, just be clear about your intentions. That's really important. And if you haven't figured out your emotions, your life yet, don't give someone false hopes. That's just not fair. No, that's not fair. You don't want that to happen to your sister. You don't want that to happen to your future children, like when you have a daughter. You don't want that, so please don't also like play with other people's sisters or daughters. And it's also like the same for the girls. Please don't play with someone's, lives and someone's son or someone's brother. It's just not fair. If he's a good guy, please don't do that. And yeah, that's something that I wanted to say. And also, if you're not happy in a relationship, like the last case that I told you, please don't continue with the relationship that is not going the way you want it to go. I'm not talking like stop a relationship when some kind of small mistakes happens, or when some kind of small fights happen, or when this person is going, for example, through financial situation that is not really good for a short period. You know what I mean? That those kind of things can happen in life, and that's completely normal. Relationships are done and are there for people to help each other out in bad times and in good times. So I'm not talking about that. But if the relationship, like the main goal of the relationship, is not the same as the one that you want and that you wish for yourself, please don't continue the relationship just thinking about, I'm gonna compromise and I'm gonna compromise just to keep that relationship. You know what I mean? It's just not healthy. It's not good for you. It's just such a waste of time. If you should compromise in a relationship, but you shouldn't be the only one who is compromising all the time, especially when it comes to like big goals and big wishes, big intentions that are basically the basic of the relationship that you really want to have for yourself. Like that is just like kind of my thing and my opinion. Yeah, I think it's just not healthy in the long term, and I don't think that's in the long term gonna make you happy. I'm 100% sure that there's someone else out there who's gonna make you happy, like someone else out there who is your person and who wants the same things as you. And they are good guys and good girls out there, and please don't really be like that. And also, don't really be too harsh on yourself. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.